I am Heidi Benjaminsen, your host of Confidence Coaching, a podcast for mothers who want to stay calm, anchored, and like how they show up in the world. Life isn't a spectator sport. Success comes to those who show up every day with a pocket full of courage, grit, and a little sparkle. I'm glad you're here. Hello. Welcome to episode 189, Quiet Wins. How are you all doing? It's been a minute for a new podcast, but I love how many of you are listening to previously released episodes. I love to re-listen to my own and other episodes that are pure gold. So I'm glad y'all have been doing that as well. Today, I want to talk about quiet wins. These are the wins in our emotional life, in our relationships with others, or with ourselves that aren't splashed across scoreboards, that no one sees or congratulates us for. Confidence often is very quiet. It can be loud, of course, but often confidence is staying anchored like a lighthouse and emitting light while the waves crash around us. The same goes for when we work on our emotional health and become more anchored and confident people. And I want to do a whole episode going through all the ways that you and I are showing up with quiet confidence. I want you to be aware and start acknowledging to yourself the ways you are doing these things so you continue to do it. So you remind yourself the small improvements, they aren't small. They're actually huge and they matter. Our families might not see or hear these quiet wins, but my heavens, they are impacted and stronger because of the quiet confidence we are building. I made a list on my phone over the last month of quiet wins. Please reach out to me and tell me your quiet wins. I'll cheer you along. The idea of this came to my mind when I realized I had handled a very hard hour with my daughter with a lot of calm and patience, and I didn't explode. My husband actually did come to me and said, "You were handling this really well." Even though he saw it and acknowledged it, most of these quiet wins are not acknowledged by others. I have about 12 or even more. Listen to this list and give yourself a lot of credit for the ones you know you've been working on. Okay, first quiet win. In a hard conversation, when you want to ask your child or another person, what the heck were they thinking? When you want to let your emotions get the most of you, the quiet win is staying calm and curious. I've had a handful of very hard conversations with my kids where it took every ounce of my body to stay curious and keep my mind open. I repeated to myself over and over, this isn't about me. I made myself look for what I didn't know about the situation. I asked question after question. I was aware of my tone of voice, my body language. One uncomfortable conversation years ago was hard because I didn't have prior notice. The quiet win was feeling my body, being aware of how I was feeling, and just asking questions. Recently, I had to have what could have been an uncomfortable conversation, and it wasn't. I gave myself a few days to clear my head, and we had it when I was totally in curiosity and willing to listen. Very important win. This quiet win projects love and trust to whomever we're engaging with. If our children, they know we love them and they know we can handle difficult conversations and they know we'll listen to them. Okay, the second quiet win is not gossiping, not passing on salacious information about people when we know details of a situation. Recently, I was at a gathering of neighbors and we were discussing a home where we suddenly saw a moving truck arrive. I didn't know who lived there. Clearly, someone was moving out. At the gathering, I could tell one neighbor friend knew details or knew more, but she didn't share it. She stayed quiet. What a huge win. She didn't have to be the person who knows all the info, who maybe wants control of the information. By doing this, I know I can trust her if I need to. I know my name and my story are safe with her when I'm not there. So congratulate yourself for the quiet ways you keep information private for people. Even if you don't know the people well, the quiet win is being the person who can elevate a conversation and bring positive energy, or maybe just a positive pause, versus loudly sharing all the details. The third quiet win is declining invitations when the energy or timing or anything doesn't work for you. Every yes to anything or anyone also means we're saying no to something or someone, even ourselves. Maybe it means we have to say no to our personal peace, and we don't want to do that. Except no one is patting us on the back when we decline the dinner invite after a very long day, or decline the new client who isn't a good match, or declining the trip when it doesn't fit into our budget. The win is making our yeses match with our integrity of our time, our space, our budgets, our values. And these are usually quiet wins, which are bigger wins if we respond as soon as we know it's a no. It's the most respectful thing for us and everyone else. The fourth quiet win is so hard and one I work on daily. This is when we stay quiet, zip our lips, do not say anything when we really want to correct someone else, our kids, our husband, and instead, we don't say anything. It's so hard, y'all. I'm barely 50-50 on this, but that is such an improvement for me, and I see the difference it makes in my relationships. While this staying quiet applies to every relationship, we seem most wanting to say a lot of words to our kids, and often they need a hug or a listening ear. My daughter has a lot of personality and has big energy. I love it, and I have to remind myself she just needs me to listen and witness her life. She usually knows what she needs to change. Unless my kids are asking for my opinion, I try very, very hard to listen, ask questions, and commiserate. Our kids need to learn to have their brains solve their problems. They don't always need our brain to solve it, although we think they do. I ask myself, do they need my advice or support? 99% of the time, they need support. That projects my confidence that they can handle a situation or will ask for help. That means I have to go busy myself doing something else, which is a very quiet win for me. I have to congratulate myself that I listened and then I redirected my attention. No one else is there to see that win. But staying quiet and listening builds a relationship where our kids will come to us with big stuff. The quiet win is staying in our lane and letting them learn to run their lane. Now, of course, there are times that we need to give direction. The quiet win is knowing the difference and giving direction that sounds like constructive direction, not criticism. We can do this with questions to help them see consequences of an action. Maybe this is staying quiet and letting our kids do something wrong or fail without big negative effects. The quiet win is letting them learn a lesson which will stay with them much longer than any advice would. Okay, the fifth quiet win is similar to the last one. I did this today. I am not reminding my son about something he told me that he wanted to do. He needs to call someone to set up an appointment. It's something he wants. It isn't something that needs to happen. It's an appointment he's in charge of. I am staying quiet. This is me winning by showing respect and confidence that my son can take care of his calendar and schedule. Letting people manage their own lane in life is often a very quiet endeavor. We stop micromanaging and hovering. We let the chips fall as they may. I know if this appointment is really important to him, he'll make it happen. If it isn't, he won't. And it isn't something I'm in charge of anymore. I'm quietly winning by noticing each few months and years how much more capable he is and doesn't need my involvement. Anne Lamott said, "Help is the sunny side of control." The quiet win is letting our kids be in control of their lives and us quietly being okay with less and less control. It's hard and it's so worth it. Okay, this is the sixth quiet win. We win when we speak positively to ourselves when we fail or don't live up to our expectations. The The quietest win is loving ourselves despite our human weaknesses. Quite frankly, I've had to do this a lot recently. I haven't been as consistent with episodes as I was the first 4 years, and while not a weakness or a failure, I've had to have a lot of talks with myself that I've had to reprioritize a few things, and that's okay. And behind the scenes, I'm doing what needs to get done. When we trip and fall and are embarrassed, the quiet win is talking to ourselves with compassion and love. Recently, a client said they failed because they quit a degree program when they realized it wasn't what they wanted. They felt like a quitter, like they had failed the college program. I helped them see it's a huge win to stop or quit anything as soon as we know we aren't on the right road. Maybe it's quietly ending a friendship or relationship that isn't a fit anymore. This isn't failing. My daughter is applying to colleges. We talk about how some will reject her, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually part of the process. Hopefully, these talks will help how she talks to herself when 1 or 2 rejections come. While I want to say no one sees our self-talk, in reality, I can always see how someone talks to themselves in their head. It comes out in other ways. It comes out in how we talk to others. The grace we give ourselves usually matches the grace we give others. If we can improve just a few of the soundtracks we have going in our head, we are quietly winning a very private battle a lot of people have. Okay, the next quiet win is apologizing in private to someone, or publicly if it needs to be done publicly, but apologizing and not casting blame on anyone else. The quiet win is taking responsibility for what we wish we had done better and zipping our lips when we want so bad for the other person to say they are sorry or take responsibility. Practice the apology ahead of time and only talk about your part. Practice sitting with the discomfort that another person may be mad and may not take responsibility for their part. Quietly let the conversation or discussion end knowing you did your part. This is hard. Like many of the quiet wins, it's hard, and this is the work of emotionally mature people. And even if we do it one time, it's a win and it's worth the work. The next quiet win is working to improve finances or working to be financially responsible and meet our own financial goals, knowing that most people will not see this win. No one tells us good job for not buying something we wanted. No one congratulates me for sticking to a budget or only buying what I can buy. No one, except my financial planner, likes the money we put into savings. People love our new cars, and openly we may feel good about the new shoes, the new whatever. And I do love my car. I love my shoes. And at the same time, I want the quiet win of liking the financial decisions I make that people can't see. So please notice all of your wins in this category and other family and life categories that are unseen. Maybe it's learning a skill so you don't have to hire it out. I now do all of my pool maintenance, so I don't have to hire that out. Maybe the quiet win is having kids pay for a portion of their activities that you feel is appropriate. Give yourself credit for quietly keeping your inside and outside life in integrity with your values and goals. The next quiet win is an example I've heard myself and had a few clients tell me they had to deal with recently. This is the quiet win of not being defensive when someone makes snide or belittling comments about your life, your business, anything. Not everyone understands the value of a life coach. Not everyone sees this as a business. And I want to have my own back and quietly win by not being defensive when someone doesn't value it. Someone recently asked one of my clients, who is an incredibly successful businesswoman, quote, "How is your little business doing?" The quiet win was my client smiled and said it was doing great, and she didn't respond defensively, even though the comment showed little respect for her multi-location and thriving business. We quietly win when we let other people's ignorance or jealousy land in front of us, not on us. We quietly win when we have our own back and don't need other people to understand our choices or our business. We don't need to attack back. Most people's comments are not attacks. even if our nervous system thinks they are. The quiet win is not engaging and moving on. Again, easier said than done, but so worth it. The next quiet win is not complaining once we have agreed to do something. Years ago, I said I would help with a home cleaning project when I was visiting my parents for the summer. The morning of the project, I so bad wanted to complain and was irritated I was going to clean. And then I stopped myself. I reminded myself I am responsible for my energy and I had signed up. No one was forcing me. The hard and quiet win was going with a good attitude. I had to own my choices, and this makes it easier to say no when I know I won't do something with good energy. So, do you see yourself in some of these quiet wins? Do you see how good you're doing? I hope so. Another quiet win is disengaging when someone says something negative to you or wants to engage in a negative discussion. The quiet win is not responding. The quiet win is having compassion for the person who wants to engage and also knowing our response is on us and we don't need to respond. No one forces us to text a reply. No one forces us to say anything. The quiet win is removing our energy from a discussion that doesn't match the energy we want in our lives. Being direct and not tiptoeing around an important issue is a quiet win. This weekend, I had to professionally and politely ask a contractor for my parents to change terms back to original terms. I was direct, no accusations, and they quickly changed what I had asked. No one could congratulate me on the win, but I quietly was making sure that we weren't taken advantage of. In fact, they respect me more now, and we are working better together because the confidence and respect for each other is matched. Are you able to see the pattern in your life of where you quietly win and need to be proud? There are many more. I'm sure when this is released, I'll think of another 10. The key is recognizing where you can grow by quietly doing the emotionally mature and confident thing. Maybe it's quietly knowing you're right about a fact and not loudly trying to prove that you're right. Maybe it's quietly not nagging kids or not sighing when your teen disappoints you. One last quiet win is when you want your teens or college kids to go somewhere with you and they choose not to. The quiet win is not guilt-tripping them into going. Then when you return, the bonus quiet is not overdoing how great it was to make them feel guilty or feel FOMO. They aren't in charge of our feelings. The quiet win is always when we can manage our emotions and let them manage their emotions, and we're respectful and considerate of each other. The reason to care about these quiet wins is that the results and effects are not quiet. Others feel our positive and confident energy, even when we say no to someone. They feel better knowing we are honest and they feel they can trust us. There's nothing worse than someone who says yes to everything because they don't want to disappoint and they don't show up 50% of the time. Take the mild discomfort being honest up front and watch how it improves and strengthens relationships and our own sense of integrity and self. That's it for this week. If you would like to see how coaching can help you feel more anchored with less worry and more peace and confidence, sign up for a consult call at HeidiBenjaminsen.com or DM me on social media. A confident mother is the greatest gift to her family, not a perfect mother. Our families want us to feel confident, anchored, and calm. I can help you uncover this version of yourself. Have a great week.